kind of decided to put together this video and give you a sort of a behind-the-scenes look into the Shrimp of the House main set. I'm actually looking to maybe do this as a start for a larger series, sort of giving you guys a glimpse into the process, since I'm planning to start this next book as of the time I'm recording this. You'll kind of forgive me for stuttering a bit. I'm doing this completely off the cuff. And, so I guess I'll just jump into this. Here's the set I use with characters. I do label the characters by height and then name, and then with anyone with kids, anybody under 18, I'll usually do an age dash height, which sort of just keeps sort of the straight in my head, since the idea is a lot of you are looking at, well, how do when a character is shrinking, how do they measure up to kids of different ages and that sort of thing. But at the same time, when I sort the list of things in the scene, the numbers sort of keep the characters at the top of the list, so I don't have to look for everybody. And then I'll usually group the items in the scene. So, I've got a bunch of preset clothing for everybody. When it goes into a new day, I can change shirts. So we can change shirts. I can go to David. He's wearing this t-shirt black. We'll go fit to, select none, and accept. And then I can put that in the folder for David's shirts, David's clothes. Oh, it's going to lag for a second. Or 10 seconds, or... oh, that's why. So we're going to undo it. Put Alex in the folder by mistake. Okay, so where's the shirt? David's shirt black goes into David's shirts. And since I have the main group, clothes invisible, all the clothes go invisible in the scene. So then we can select one of the preset shirts in his collection. We can go fit to David, and he's got a new shirt. See, just like that. I also have, the house is, everything to do with the house is sort of grouped together. I have doors in a separate folder, or in a separate group, for easy access, since throughout the work I'll pick a door and I'll have doors opening and closing, so I want the doors sort of easily accessible. Let's see, this will focus, so we go see. And I'll just delete key. So I've got doors in one folder for easy access. The furniture, because furniture is in another folder, because when I'm working in a room, I'll turn off the furniture in all the other rooms. As you can see, this room is empty. But if I go and find the living room and click the little eyeball, and in a second, when it's done processing it, there's the furniture. Because gradually over time, working with this set from book to book, I've been slowly replacing some of the lower poly props with higher poly, more complex props. as you've noticed in the story, you see the setting changes because I'm trading in, getting rid of some of the low poly stuff and putting it in with sort of more complex stuff. But all that does is, all that stuff ends up driving up the file size and makes it more increasingly difficult to work if everything's on. So if I start turning on all the furniture, I'll show you what it means, which is going to take a while. But when these groups are off, the program treats it like they're not even there. Like they're not even in the set, so it's as if I'm working with a smaller file size. And the kitchen's going to take forever to come on. See if we look through the door, we can see the kitchen. We'll go into the kitchen. See, here's our kitchen with all kinds of furniture. So let's start adding some more rooms. Let's put Alex's room on. I don't know if you can tell. I can definitely feel it starting to lag when I twist the viewport, the camera angle. Put up bathroom. All this stuff in the scene basically just sort of drags on the program. So I end up grouping the furniture by room so I can turn it off when I'm not there. So, with all the doors closed, you don't see the kids' rooms, the parents' rooms, or if I go into a room, I don't see the living room and kitchen. But this is the kitchen. Alex's room is off the back of the kitchen. Which the general idea is, I guess the background that was in my mind is this would be the bonus room, but since they've got 4 kids, they use it as his room. Because strangely enough, there's no bathroom attached to this room. In the realm of I didn't quite think it through way back when I first designed the set. The bathrooms are off the master bath and off the boys' room. Not even Allison has access to a bathroom without cutting through. So this is Alex's room, and like I do with each piece, I've sort of swapped out more furniture. So in here, for example, Alex has a new bed and has a new bed, and matching nightstands. Which, with the exception of the pillows, the nightstand and the bed, I ended up creating them myself. I do some of the modeling, not all of it. So that's Alex's bedroom. If we come over here, sort of to the side of the kitchen is Allison's room. And it's lagging, so this is Allison's room. And again, I gave her a new bed. Excuse me. That's her room. Next to them, off the living room, is the boys' room. We'll put the furniture on there. Yes, you can probably see like these rooms are unrealistically large. I generally make them 25 by 25 or 30 by 30, just so I've got room to shoot in without having to take out half the walls and half the furniture. And it's a little unrealistic in the real world, but it's what I do to film in. You've probably already noticed half the time I turn the camera around, I end up like going through a wall. See, the boys' room is gotten really heavy, so it's going to take a little bit longer to come up. So it's not like everybody's living in a McMansion by choice. It's more practical for shooting in. Especially in like the when you do the size difference shots. If you've got somebody going really small, it makes it a lot easier to do a size comparison with somebody if you can back the camera up enough without cutting through a wall. There's a lot of stuff in the boys' room, so this is taking forever to come up. Um, so I'll create the houses, I'll create whatever sets as full sets. Um, any room that I expect to or might film in gets furnished within that. And then, sort of like with this one, I can turn off the furniture to lighten the resource load. And then sometimes, if I kind of want to save the character positions when I'm done filming a scene, if I expect to come back and use similar character positions, there we go, I'll end up like cutting up the room and cutting up the set into individual rooms and then saving them as separate files so that I've got the main file and then a secondary file with smaller pieces to make it easier to shoot. See, they've got new beds and nightstands too. Jackson's posters. Since there's been a theme of Aiden breaking his toys all the time, I thought it was finally time to start replacing toys to show that continuity, that supposed continuity. So I'll select David, and this button zooms in on him. Basically, what I do since this series, I decided I was going to advance time instead of keeping time frozen, like a lot of like stories and shows do. And then you run into a problem like The Simpsons, where they've been going for 30 years and they've run out of ideas because the characters haven't aged, haven't really moved on from that point in time. I decided that this series was going to move forward and the characters were going to age. So when I first started working with this story, I take the set, update all the furniture, and update everything with the house and the furniture and the decor that I wanted to do, and then I'll take the characters into a separate program all by themselves and provide the appropriate aging. So the idea was David's Nightmare took place, the last story was David's Nightmare took place in the early summer, and this one's going to take place in the early fall, so you figure 3 months has probably passed. The characters get a little older, the kids grow. In this case, Jackson will have started high school. Alex, I think this story, the setup will be he's turning 18 in a month or two. So I thought it was finally an excuse to change out their identical hairstyle. The idea is like Aiden's a kid, so he can stick with the kind of messy, unkempt hair, and David works at home, so he's got the I don't care look. But I think it was time for Alex to pretend he's looking more adult, and Jackson is starting high school, so he wants to pretend he's more adult. So that's the backstory on that. We've aged them a little bit, and I thought it might make for an interesting idea to have Jackson sort of shoot up in height over the summer. And I've been toying with this idea that, like, currently I've got him standing at 6 foot even, the same height as their dad. And and it's like I've been going back and forth on whether or not to do the same thing with Alex in the first story, where he's like 5'11", just shy of meeting his dad. But I thought it would be more interesting if he was the same height, because that means he's reached it earlier than Alex did. So it provides the possibility of him like lording it over Alex endlessly go in some story or another. And I thought too it would kind of eliminate the possibility, the need of like copying something I've already done in the past, by having that like surprise at the end of the story he's grown taller than his dad when they weren't watching. But anyway, like, I've got Alex at his full adult height of 6'4", and Jackson's at 6 foot even, blah blah blah. And Alice and Aiden are a little bigger than they were in the previous story, but not much, because it's basically a theme that's popped up that I've kind of had in the back of my head, is that sort of all three of his older siblings are growing up, and he's kind of left behind because he's still a kid. He's not seeing those fast growth spurts. It's like from his point of view, the rest of the family is just passing him and leaving him behind. So that's a theme that I've been kind of like slowly and gradually playing up on. And then there's David, who I try to make a little older. I think in each story at this point, I sort of pack a couple more pounds on him as he's supposedly getting older. But like the set, we change the characters individually and then import them into the story. Oops. Okay. And basically, when I work, I'll make use of the timeline, because this isn't just a program for taking static images. You can create videos in here. So hence the timeline. So let's say I want to set, okay, I set it on keyframe 5. We'll just do something simple. We'll have him at keyframe 5. We'll have him move his arm. We'll have him move his arm. And this is going to lag unless I render it this way. So let's change our range so it doesn't come back. And then we'll play this. And it's, you can kind of see the arm moving there. You can do video. You'd have to render this because the size of the file. It's lagging on the video playback, but once you render it, the actual video should run smoothly. But what the keyframes do is sort of allow me to easily zero out the character's pose. So if I didn't want to go in and reset all the numbers that I changed or whatever, I can just click delete the keyframe, and it'll reset the character back to the last keyframe. So I won't work in keyframe, I'll work in key 1, where key 0 is the base. So let's say we move him about, and see, oh, it does that sometimes, so we just undo. Okay. I see. This is going to lag because I have all the furniture on. See, this is why I turn the furniture on. We'll sort of pick a bunch of things, move the character around. And then if I want to reset the pose and start over for the next picture, I would otherwise have to pick all those body parts again and zero out the poses, or I could select everything and then just delete the keys, and he's instantly reset. And then I want to simplify the thing, so I can collapse the chains. Collapse the change, so I end up bringing it back to the root menu. And we'll click off him, so I'm not holding on to. I'll basically have everything static in its original position for that keyframe, and then I'll reduce the timeline to frame 1 so that I can pose characters. If you want an idea of the layout of this house, go into structure, which is all the walls, the ceiling, the floor. We'll take off the ceiling for a second. I think there's a separate piece for the room. And then we'll focus on the structure. So yeah, see, there's the house, seven rooms, or 8 if you count the 2 bathrooms as a split. We'll zoom in a bit here. Focus on, here's the full set. And it's lagging. And I don't have the master bedroom furniture on yet. So as you can see, these are full environments. I don't just create the individual pieces I need. This is like everything I might end up using. A lot of the sets for some of the one-off stories, I'll create these full sets and then never use half of them. So, if you've gone through Jeremy's journal, there's actually a set of a laundry room in her house that never got featured. On the other hand, there's like sets where I know I'm not going to be filming in rooms, so I won't bother furnishing them. So if you go into the let me see, I think Friends Forever, the 2 houses for Rusty and Elliot, both of them have master bedrooms for the parents, but if I were to bring up the set and show you the full house like this, those rooms are empty because I never bothered furnishing them. I never planned to have a scene in the parents' bedrooms, so I never bothered furnishing them. But the contrast is this is not a full universe. So there's a house across the street, so if the shades are ever up, no, not the shades, if the door is ever opened, I can shoot a video, I can shoot an image out the door. Let me show you how that works. Let me show you that one. So if I open the doors, so in those scenes where somebody's at the door, when somebody's at the door, I've got a backdrop, so you don't see that this is a limited universe. I can film with that house against the backdrop. As I put shades on the windows, I don't need to create backdrops for the rest of the. So go undo. And I'll put the roof back on. There's the ceiling, and I guess I don't need the roof, but we collapse that group, and that's the set. I think I am going to call this video quits. I hope that was interesting. I didn't feel to me like it was very interesting, but I hope it was. I do really want to give you guys and girls a behind the scenes look. I really do want to thank you. I feel like I don't say it enough because I'm not really like that kind of a person to say that sort of thing, but I really am grateful for all your support. I really am grateful that you like the work, that you like it enough to keep coming back, to keep reading. And, I thought, this was, sort of an idea, give you a glimpse into the process that goes into making those. Future videos, I'd like to sort of give you a look into what it's like to set up a scene, what it is to take the pictures and create the pages and that sort of thing. And that's sort of what I'm hoping to do with this story. This is going to be Shrimp in the House Part 9. It doesn't have a title yet. I can't really settle on something, but